Welcome to The Feed, powered by Loblaw. I'm your host, Michael LeBlanc. We conceived of The Feed podcast as an opportunity to showcase thought leaders, tastemakers, innovative food and health brands, and yes, a few key Loblaw executives who are making a difference in the grocery and health industries, together helping Canadians live life well. What does it take to build a food brand from a single consumer problem into a product line found on the shelves of major grocery stores? In this episode, I'm in Vancouver with Paul Gill, founder and CEO of Naked Saucy. We explore how a soy allergy sparked an entrepreneurial journey, the lessons that transformed his business, why operational excellence matters as much as great products, and the surprising advice from a retail buyer that completely changed his innovation strategy. If you're interested in food entrepreneurship, grocery retail, or building a consumer brand built to last, this is an episode you don't want to miss. Paul, welcome to The Feed. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Michael.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here in Vancouver at Naked Saucy World Headquarters.
Definitely the secret world headquarters.
What a view you've got. I was looking at the office and then I looked out this corner. My goodness, I love that view with the industry right behind your head.
Yeah, we got the ports right behind me. It's a sign of commerce, and
yeah,
it's pretty inspiring just to look at it every day and sit here and get to work.
Fantastic. So let's start. Let's talk about you. Talk about your personal, professional journey. What brought you to the food business?
It's been a long time ago. I'll see if I can remember. It's 13 years we've been in business. It was 14 years if you count the 1 year of research that I had to go through. It all started with my cousin who had a soy allergy, and back then I'm just like, why don't you just have a soy-free soy sauce, which is, I'm like, they have milk-free milk. Back then it was a big revelation to have milk-free milk. He's like, no, I cannot find anything. I'm like, well, I don't think you're the only one that's probably has this problem. I was looking for something to do entrepreneurial.
Well, let's talk about that for a bit. What's you always been entrepreneurial? What's your background? Are you more art, science? I always, when I talk to my kids, you're either going to go down one or two paths generally, the arts and science and math, or more the arts
business.
Piece. Yeah.
I would say yes and no. In a funny sense, I've always been an entrepreneur, but also not. I've always been an entrepreneur in the sense that I've always been doing entrepreneurial things. Selling my notes at school, collecting cards and looking at the value and putting things together and reselling them, providing a product or a service. I just didn't know it. And I thought this was just like how you get by in life, but you get an education. I was actually in the sciences and trying to become a doctor, but was not succeeding. It was just not invigorating enough. It wasn't passionate for me. And it was very hard. And I actually thought at that point that people who went to business school were the ones who just failed sciences. So then I thought, you know what? Let's just swallow up your pride. I'll take one business class, and my whole life changed.
Just loved it.
That was one of probably the most important things and moments of my life. It was really, I get goosebumps thinking about it. I aced the class. The teacher liked me for the first time in 20 years. A teacher liked me. And it's just been okay. But even still then, I didn't know entrepreneurship.
Sure.
I just thought, okay, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to graduate and I'm going to get a job and everything will make sense. And along that journey, I was still doing little things to get by. I was selling products and services, anything that I can do. Selling notes. Can I coach you on this? Can I cut a lawn? Anything to make $1. And then I graduated and I got that corporate job. So it all made sense.
All connected then.
Until I wanted to, die of boredom. And I'm just I cannot do this. And from there, I realized, all the craziness that I was trying to get past is actually what I need in my life. And this is for me. And that was the second most important part of my life, was that moment.
And where'd you grow up? When you went to school, was it around here? Was it Vancouver?
Yeah. I went up New West Secondary, and then I was at UBC Solder School for my undergrad.
So the inspiration for your product is really, and I hear this fairly often, this intersection of the personal and professional. In your case, someone you knew was looking for something, And I always say to myself when I have a problem or an issue, I can't be the only person with this problem.
Yeah.
So might go to YouTube or whatever and kind of see who else has solved the problem. Was that your idea? That was the spark. There must be, if you are looking for this kind of product, there must be others.
Yeah, exactly. You scour the forums and then the Facebook group chats and whatever you could find out there. And I went and talked to some grocery stores, and people were looking for soy-free alternatives.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, like I was like, is this really some white space? Like, wow, like I can't believe this is happening. And that was the catalyst behind it all.
Interesting. So you actually went, and your research was knocking on doors and talking to people and saying, is there a market for this? Do you find people asking for this kind of product? And as you said, I guess the contemporary these days, if you started your business yesterday, you'd be going into the AI tools and trying to see what they told you, right?
I've put in AI business plans before. Just random ones to see what it spit out. But yeah, no, back then it was very analog, knocking on doors, talking to buyers, talking to customers, reading the forums, and it was a lot of rolling up your sleeves, and it was fun. It was great.
Right. Well, walk us through the product line. Tell us all about the product and what's different about it, and how many SKUs you got. Let's do some practical stuff.
We have a full line of sauces now. I think around the 15 SKU mark. So it's pretty decent. But we started off with coconut oils and one sauce.
Okay.
So that was the soy-free soy sauce, coconut aminos. And back then, coconut oil was a huge thing. But, over time, that became like a commodity. And the quickest way to shut down a buyer meeting was to say coconut. So I'm like, we got to get away from this. But our sauces were doing well. And then we had made a couple of variations, a teriyaki and a chili garlic, which we still have today. And we switched the name from Naked Coconuts, and there was a brief moment that was called Naked Natural Foods, and now it's Naked and Saucy, and it's a full line of sauces. Yeah, it's pretty cool. In a few categories, we have our core or original category, the Asian sauces, and
I saw peanut sauce, for example.
A sweet chili sauce, a chili garlic. I really like the vegan oyster, and a couple of different coconut aminos. And now we have low-calorie salad dressings and dairy-free Indian curries. Yeah.
Hey, I love the idea that that vegetarian or that veg oyster, because my daughter's allergic to shellfish, so so that would be good. She'd still get that umami flavor, right?
It's amazing, yeah.
Fantastic. Now, any surprises in the line? Any hits or misses? Like, you've been on this journey for a few years. You're like, yeah, I think of it in two ways. One, we'll try a product. I don't know who's going to buy it. Oh my God, there's a lot of demand. Or conversely, we thought there'd be more demand for this product. It's going to be one of our niche products. Any surprises as you went down that product journey?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I was so green back in the day when I had my coconut aminos. I didn't want to even make another sauce. I'm like, it's just easy. You just use our soy sauce and you put a few spices and herbs. People do it at home.
Right.
So I thought no one was going to buy my produced teriyaki. I literally didn't know even that. But when we launched it, it was a huge success. And I'm just like, wow, people will buy for convenience. And so that was kind of like a eye-opening moment for a moment. Lots of misses. Lots of misses. Our curries right now are very good. They taste amazing. I'm Indian, so mom approved from home. Actually, one is called a Mom's Indian Curry. At certain retailers, they sell for sub $5, but they do not move. They're not moving well. I don't promote it too much. We're trying to figure it out, go back to the 4 Ps. So you can have a great product, great branding, great price, but there's this unexplainable shelf magic. Sometimes it just works and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. And right now we're trying to figure it out, but maybe not.
So talk about going to market. So you went, I think you went from, as many people do, small specialty stores into larger footprints. So talk about your process or your progress between making, selling at small 50 doors all the way to how many doors are you available now and where do you sell?
Roughly around 5,000 nationally in Canada and nationally in the U.S. We just entered about a year and a half ago or so.
Oh, that's great.
But big difference between 50 and 5,000. And it's not the sell side. Like a lot of people just think, like that's the hard part, but it's to execute at scale is really, really difficult. And something that maybe not a lot of people look at in the earlier days is something that you just have to go through and learn the hard way, because we're so focused on, hey, can I get that sale? Will you please list me? Like I'm trying so hard to get the listing and sell through. But there's just so much work behind the scenes for that. Product quality, product safety, cash flow, supply chain. And those are always on the side when you're just trying to sell.
Would you say that that's a misconception amongst food entrepreneurs? Everything will be fine once I just get the listing?
Definitely.
Everything will take care of itself after that. Get the listing and we'll figure it out after that.
The listing will solve everything.
Right.
No, that's when problems are accentuated and your infrastructure comes into play and it's wild. Yeah, people, myself included, have completely ignored that in the early years.
Now you have another facility where we were either going to do this interview at your facility where you actually make and bottle the product, or we're going to do it here, but it's a little noisy there. So talk about that other facility. Do you use a co-packer? How do you bring your product to life?
So that's been a really fun part of my life over the last couple of years. Is generally in this industry, when you launch a brand, you don't actually go into production because you need immense volume to be successful in production, and you're just trying to get off the ground. And because of that dynamic, there's such a robust service industry, as you just said, co-packers, so contract manufacturers, and growing this brand. I had a network of them, up to 3 at one point I was using simultaneously. And
how did you find them starting off? Because I'm always intrigued by that beginning day. It's not like you look I guess you look on, I'm looking for a co-packer and go to a few trade shows. But
I'm not that old. There was Google back then. So we just Googled it and, word of mouth. And
that's how you figured it out.
So it was not too hard, but getting their time and energy was difficult. It was like, hey, can you please take me on? I want to run 200 bottles. And, not a lot of people will say yes to that.
Right.
So that was actually very hard. They were there, but getting them to say yes was really difficult in those first few months or year.
Interesting.
But we built up our volume, and I'm now I've been harping on operations and learning it, but I really am an operations guy at heart. And I've always had the dream and desire to own one of these production plants. So 2 years ago, we actually bought out our co-packer and vertically integrated, and now manage the whole thing vertically. And that's been very rewarding, both in terms of efficiencies and then the work that we get to do.
Right.
So that one's called Hummingbird Foods and Co-packing.
Right. So I saw that Hummingbirds. I wasn't sure if that was your co-packer, but that's your own business.
Correct.
Oh, interesting. Are you going to expand that to do co-packing for other people, or you?
Yeah, we have 20 plus brands that we pack for now, and we have national private label retail programs.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. We are also national restaurant food service management. So I'm not sure how to say that. Multi-unit. National, we do back of house dressings and sauces.
Oh, okay.
So that's a whole.
So you have both a wholesale and a retail.
Correct.
Part of the business.
So that's a whole wild another business, and it's a lot of work, and it's in a lot of ways a lot different than Naked. So the biggest thing is for me to make sure that I keep focusing on Naked more. I have a really strong management team there, and they kind of run the show, and I kind of just oversee. But Naked is my baby, and there's a lot of work to do still here.
We were talking off mic that you had a conversation with a Loblaw buyer that kind of turned your head a little bit. Talk about that.
That was, maybe now my third most important part of what we're going through. Shout out to Chris Beasley and Donnie. Very early days, I was presenting to them. I didn't know much. They took the meeting. I came to the meeting I had these bites that never really got launched, and I didn't even have them in packaging. I had them in Ziploc bags, and it was just hilarious. But I was also pitching them some sauces, like our teriyaki and our other chili garlic. And as they were talking to each other, Chris was telling Donnie, and they were talking. They're like, if you make a variation of a general flavor, like if you make a specialized sweet chili or a specialized soy sauce, a spicy soy sauce, the velocities just drop off a cliff. And they were talking amongst themselves, and I'm just picking it up, and I'm tripping because I have in production, like 4 exotic variations
exactly
of a
what they're talking
yeah,
about.
like a garlic confit teriyaki in production.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're like,
R&D.
what did you just say about velocity? Repeat
I'm
that
just
part again.
like, okay, like I didn't get any of the listings. Obviously, like I didn't deserve them at the time. I didn't really know what I was doing, and that was one of them. I went home, stopped investing into all this R&D, and I didn't know for a long time what to do. I think it was like a year later where I had an aha moment. I'm like, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy the data on the market and then like line by line over 100, just categorize them into those general flavors. And sure enough, the basic flavor was doing well. Any variation of that flavor was just like dying. So
like a Pareto's law kind of 80-20 rule?
Correct, yeah. So, that's how we then came up with that was the genesis to like our whole line. Like we had a teriyaki then the next biggest flavor was sweet chili. So I'm like, we should make a sweet chili. Then the next was a peanut. And now those are our top 3 flavors. And it was all because of that meeting. And it was not even something they told me. They were talking about.
Just talking about specific.
It was wild. Like that changed the whole business.
I think it's a great lesson for any entrepreneur. I always say, listen to your buyer. These people do this for a living. And they see 100 people like you a week. That's their job.
Yeah.
And then just listen to them. Just listen more than that old 2-to-1 ratio, right? Listen more than you talk. Because it's so tempting to go in and pitch, right? You want to pitch.
Exactly.
You think, I only got a few minutes with these people. This could be a big deal. So,
It's that scarcity, you only got the 2 minutes and it's everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to listen.
The small supplier team at Loblaw brought us together and said that if I'm coming to Vancouver, I should talk to you. So talk about your experience with Sherilyn and the team.
Yeah, big thanks to Sherilyn for thinking of us to doing this, and her whole team. Loblaw has played a really important role in my life now that I think about it. Because this is a very big deal. The small supplier program is a very cool step for such a huge organization to take on a national scale to like really foster innovation and empower brands to do well and give us a platform to do well. And that goes with, earlier payments, dedicated support, free data. Like what? Like no one's doing that. But Loblaw has really stepped up, and it's making a huge difference in our organization, and I'm sure in many other organizations.
Yeah, right. You're already in a lot of doors, so you're 8 years in. This isn't your first rodeo, but still you learn something. And other vendors have told me this is a great thing because you get kind of a concierge, so to speak.
Correct. Yeah.
In a very big, complex organization.
Massive.
They're all big and complex in their own way, but it's kind of like a guide, like a Sherpa, right?
There's so much to learn all the time, and it really goes a long way.
Let's get back to product a little bit because I'm interested in product. This single replacement product idea, coconut aminos. How do you decide I think you're really talking about it. You've been talking about this adjacencies versus the core, right? So, you've got a certain number of sauces, but how do you put a product road together? What do you've got to manage that brand perception, and you've probably got more ideas than you have market space. But how do you manage that process with you and the team? What comes next, in other words? How do you prioritize?
Great question, and this is something that brands struggle with every day, every year. This is one of the most important questions to answer, and we're learning through trial and error. Innovation and adjacent products are very hard to execute. And it starts with just the basic 4 Ps: price, product, promotion, placement. Like it's so basic, but it's so powerful. Like you're really going through that exercise. And so we've been going through that journey and we're learning along the way. I think we're good for now. There is nothing adjacent on the horizon. I feel like we have a lot of really good products that have that magic on shelf and customers want it. They're coming back for more. And I think what we're working on right now is how can we get this into more households? How can we improve household penetration? And how can we improve household consumption without new SKU launches? Very risky, very costly. But if you get it right, it's huge upside.
Well, yeah, you've got a good assortment, right? You've got your 8 sauces. So, the one other end of the scale is this SKU proliferation, right? When you just got too many to focus on, and then I think the risk is you start to lose, you lose the essence of what you're telling people, right? Is
totally, and you're trying to like appeal to every angle, different sauce for a different person, and you lose that core focus.
Yeah.
And
particularly now that you yourself are a co-packer, you know the volumes. You're very familiar with them, right?
Yeah, we definitely got to protect the volumes. So that's important.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
it's a very tough lesson, and I'm still learning it. Maybe I should be working on adjacencies. Maybe I'm making a mistake in the wrong way, or maybe it's right. But that's just the beauty of this life is like you never always know, and that's a big part of it. And it's a skill to be learned, to be okay with the uncertainty.
So my bet is there's going to be lots of people listening to the podcast and watching us on YouTube that got an idea themselves, and they say, "Hey, I want to get into this business. I want to get into the food." You probably talked. A lot of people, I'm sure, probably come up to you and go, I got an idea for a great food product." What's your kind of 3 most important pieces of advice to be your 3 key success factors? You've got an idea. You want to be in the food business. Let's assume you've got an idea. Yeah. Maybe you don't even have an idea, but you just started with, I want to be in this business. I want to be an entrepreneur. But what are those 3 key things that really you've learned that are really going to make a difference?
Well, again, very basic. Product is king. Like you have to nail taste so good, so well. It has to be perfectly executed because that's the only reason someone will buy twice. You can be well priced. You could be well branded. You could have the best distribution in the world, but if someone's not going to want your product again and again, it just won't work. So I'm seeing a lot of like even experts rush the product development stage. I would say take your time. You got an idea, like don't rush to make the business. Spend your time, take a year, take longer, take whatever time it takes to really develop that product.
Should people go to trade shows and how do they, during that year of product development? I mean, there's also, you've got to have something a bit different and unique. You don't want something so wildly different and unique you get ahead of the market. Sometimes you get ahead of yourself in innovation, but is that a step you'd recommend?
Yeah, definitely. You got to be out in the field. Got to get to know the community. It's not so big. It's pretty tight knit. Go to the shows. Maybe drop what you might be doing. People will be able to help. It's a pretty progressive and kind, nurturing industry, I would say. Like people are very kind.
I like what you did as well. You could talk to the store managers. Go in the grocery store. Hey, what do you think of this
Share your
idea?
Story. They're happy to help. They want to help. People want to like pass it forward. So that's a great thing to bring up. Definitely go to the trade shows. CHFA is a big one, East and West, and go and talk to people. Try products. You're probably going to have a competing product. There's not too many amazing original.
These are your crowded categories. I was going to say, particularly in the U.S. You and I were talking again off mic. I just got back from Austin, and you go into the HEBs of the world, and my God, the sauces I've never seen before. Just endless aisle of Texas sauces. I'm like, how does anybody get in that aisle?
It's crazy, right? Yeah. So it's not always about making something new. It's about making maybe something better or more accessible or something. So it's a balance, right?
Right.
And then so you got product as king, and execution, operational execution. You got to understand margins. You got to understand who makes what in the supply chain. You have to understand your bill backs. You have to understand what the difference between profit loss and cash flow is. Very big thing. You could be profitable and just dying cash flow, especially in growth. Good times are big strains on your cash. They don't make your financial situation better. They make it worse.
Well, I think that was one of the parts when they were telling me the payment, the way they do payments in the small supplier program, right? It's
massive.
It's hard to fund that for 30 or 60 or whatever days, right? It becomes cash flow. You could be a very profitable product, but you start to run out of cash to get those raw ingredients and all those other things.
This is, perfect example of like the good work that this program is doing, because this is a huge part of it, especially early on. And then the third one would be a general one, maybe not just food. It is your ability to like manage stress has to be elite. Like you have to be okay with the refusals. You have to be okay with stuff going wrong. You have to be okay with uncertainty, the anxious, the pain overnight. It's definitely a learned skill. If you don't have it, it's fine, but just know that this is something you'll have to go through. and develop thick skin. And it's something that I'm really proud of today. That
you and the people around you need a bit of resilience.
Yeah,
as well,
and
right?
you gotta be cool with your family and your partner and whoever you have in your life. It definitely takes a community to get through something like this.
And we're here in your office. I mean, some of these businesses are such that you could basically run it from your own home. But in your case, there's an advantage or there's a strategy. I need to get my head out of my home space and into a workspace, right?
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't always like that the first few years working from home, but it makes a huge difference to have a place of just business, and you just think there, and you can come home and relax. It helps deal with some of that pressure.
Sure.
So you got to try to unplug as hard as it is at times, but you got to make those little things the strategic moves to be able to do that one day. Yeah.
So what's next for the business? I mean, let's see. It's not going to be extensive product launches because you're very happy with what the product is. Mm-hmm. What are the next things? You're in a lot of doors. Mm-hmm. You're achieving great success. What's next for the business?
It's again back to those two very basic things: improve household penetration, improve household consumption, and that's through marketing and learning how we can market ourselves better to the people of North America, Canada primarily, and say a little bit more about marketing. So, what are you thinking about? Is it influencer marketing? Is it paid marketing? Mass marketing? What's on shelf? What's been your experience? What's worked for you? So, I don't know what's worked for us. I'm trying to figure that stuff out right now. But that's my biggest research project right now. It's a very big investment. So I'm talking to a lot of consultants. I'm talking to other founders who've been there, done that. That's a very big source of information and knowledge and how to get ahead. Starting out or like 13 years in is talking to other people. And I'm just trying to learn, hey, what's that mix? What is working? And it changes from category to category. So I can't really be talking to someone who's selling popcorn or selling, a cola. Yeah. So because the amount, the velocities at home, the consumption rates are different. So that changes your marketing mix. What I'm looking into right now is like pcexpress.com or .ca, pcexpress.ca, and that might be a great place for us to market where people type in
retail
sauce.
Media kind of thing.
Yeah, retail media. In-store is obviously king.
Be there when people are about to... there's a lot to be said for being where people are about to make that buying decision around... I want to make something different for the family or myself, and this sauce may be that thing that gets me there.
Right there, right? The hardest thing to do, I think. Well, for me, again, like I said, I'm an operations person, so I kind of understand it, but marketing is very abstract. It's very hard for me to wrap my head around it. So I'm taking my time because I don't want to make another huge mistake, which I have in the past a couple of times.
Not too bad. I mean, you're doing so well now. So
so that's really what's on the big horizon for Naked is like really understand consumer marketing and take it to that next level, which we could, you could 50% double the company just through effective marketing like that.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Of all your sauces, what do you do with them? What's your favorite meal that you make with it? Oh,
great question. I can't live without the coconut aminos, reduced sugar. We're the only ones in North America to have it, and that's not the only reason I'm saying it. The original is great. It's lower in sodium and has a little sweetness to it, so it has definitely its application uses. But I like the reduced sugar one. It has more sodium, still 50, 60% less sodium, but it tastes more like a soy sauce, and it's so light. There's no hangover. I use it weekly. We use it as a base for so many sauces. And I really like our peanut sauce. I eat a salad a day, and I use it a few times a week.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks so much for taking time out of your day and sitting down with me.
That was quick.
For the feed, and it was fantastic to meet you. Congratulations on all your success, and wish you continued success.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, be sure and follow us and give us a 5-star review in your favorite podcast app, and tell your friends and colleagues all about us. New episodes of The Feed, powered by Loblaw, will show up regularly on your favorite podcast app and on our YouTube page, where you can watch the full video of each episode at The Feed, powered by Loblaw. I'm Michael LeBlanc, consumer retail growth consultant, keynote speaker and producer, and host of a series of retail trade podcasts. You can learn more about me on LinkedIn. Safe travels, everyone.